Welcome to Córdoba, whereas Granada, our next destination, was the very last Moorish capital. Córdoba was actually the capital during the peak of the Muslim rule. Back then it was as imposing as Baghdad and Constantinople, which is now Istanbul, and it was one of the greatest cities in Europe. It had 10 times as many inhabitants as Paris did at the time. It is also the city with the most UNESCO World Heritage in one place. So not Rome, not Paris or Florence, but Córdoba. There is a lot of history in Córdoba, and it was also the home of the Roman philosopher Seneca. After having a blast in Sevilla and seeing all the sights there, it was time for my best friend Sara and I to grab some breakfast and get on the bus to Córdoba. We have just arrived at our accommodation, and it is called Hostal Alcazar. And for the price of what we paid in Sevilla for one person in a shared dorm room, we are sleeping in a private room tonight. And we can share the cost. So instead of paying 30 euros in a hostel in Sevilla, we are paying 15 euros to sleep in a private room that is located very centrally. Our first stop here in Córdoba is the reason why most people come and visit this city. It is La Mezquita. This used to be a mosque and has been transformed into a cathedral. And it is basically a combination of both buildings. There is no need to buy tickets beforehand. You can buy them at the ticket machines in the courtyard. The courtyard has some water elements because Muslims used to wash themselves before entering the building. You can also climb the old minarets for a panoramic view over the city. People told us that you can visit La Mezquita for free before the official opening hours, but we arrived too late for that. The seemingly endless red and white columns and arches are over 1,000 years old. The mihrab, which is the niche in the wall of the mosque that indicates the location of Mecca towards which the Muslims would face when praying. This one is covered in a beautiful mosaic made from more than a ton of glass cubes. Then in the middle of the structure, the space opens up and you find yourself in an impressive church. After our visit, we went for lunch at El Rincon de Carmen. They had some unique but delicious lunch options. Sara went back to our room for her last remote exam, which was a success. Of course. While Sara was busy, I set off on foot to roam around the historical city center. Behind me here you can see the Roman bridge, and it was originally built in the 1st century before Christ. So it has been here all along, but it has been upgraded since. Initially it was just a wooden bridge. Right there at the start of the bridge, you can see the Puerta del Puente, and this bridge is crossing the Guadalquivir River, so it is the same one that we've already seen in Sevilla. And I am now standing next to the Calahorra Tower, which is the one on the other side of the river. You can even go up the tower to see a panoramic view of the skyline of the city. We just wanted to visit the Alcazar de los Reyes here in Córdoba as well, but it's closed as of 2 o'clock in the afternoon during the summertime, which we didn't know. I did know that it would close early, but not this early. So we will try and visit that tomorrow morning. And it is basically also a palace with beautiful gardens, and they say that the gardens are even prettier than the ones in Sevilla. So I'm curious to see if that's true. The two biggest squares in the city are Plaza de las Tendillas and Plaza Corredera. As you can see, both are very different, and they have restaurants and lovely cafes that you can have a drink or some food at. After passing by the old Roman theater, I made my way back through the cozy alleys to celebrate Sara's degree with some delicious food at Bodegas Mezquita. We walked through the Judería, or Jewish quarter, to our next excursion. We are currently on a tour of the Medina Azahara, and it is honestly amazing. We are taking this tour by night, and the stars are out. There is not a single cloud in the sky, and it is absolutely magical. A lot of it is reconstructed, but it does mean that you can see exactly, or not exactly, but you have a really good idea of what it was like back in the day. Bear in mind that this was one of the capitals of Europe, and a lot of inventions and things that we still use today were invented back in the day, and these places are the first places where you can find them, so it's really interesting. I don't think many tourists get to see this because the tour that we are on now is a Spanish-speaking tour. They don't do any English tours at all. And I think it's also something that will stop on the 15th of September, so I'm not sure you'll still be able to do this. But you can definitely still come during the day and visit this incredible place.
Se llamaba Al-Hakam II. Si habéis visto la mezquita de Córdoba.
Alright, the first day in Córdoba is over, and surprisingly we have another half a day left, which wasn't foreseen, but we are really happy about it because Córdoba has really surprised us. Good morning! It is early, it has just been 8:30 and we are already on our way to the Alcazar of Córdoba, and it is so nice and fresh outside. We did not expect it to be this fresh this morning, so it'll be ideal to visit the gardens. We got a ticket across from the entrance, and the best thing about visiting the Alcazar de los Reyes early is that there were only a few other people there. The inside of the palace wasn't much, but the gardens left us speechless. At this time of day, the lighting was wonderful. Honestly, guys, these gardens are so pretty. Look at all the flowers, and it's so well maintained. I really love Córdoba. Right, this is an actual tree. This is so cool. This whole garden is so beautiful and just breathtaking. We've been taking pictures non-stop. Guilty! But honestly, and it's the best time of the day. The lighting is perfect, the temperature is perfect, there's not too many people. Everything turned out exactly like it had to. So we then walked around the castle walls to the Puerta de Sevilla. Yesterday we also walked through the Judería, or the Jewish quarter, and they are all narrow streets. It's like a labyrinth of white painted houses and cozy balconies, and it is such a beautiful neighborhood. And in general, all of the historical center of Córdoba is just beautiful. The roads are very narrow and the walls are white. That way they try and keep the heat out of the streets. just visited one of the patios, and they are beautifully decorated with lots of flowers, and they are set to be even better in the springtime. And then they also open some of the private patios so you can visit them, and it's really something typical from this region. The people, there used to live 12 families inside of that house and share the kitchen, etc. Córdoba and Andalusia in general are also known for the horse shows. Here in Córdoba you can be a spectator and watch one of those shows. For this you need to be at the royal stables or Caballerizas reales. If you're interested in attending one of the shows, then here's some information about them. That is it for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see the next of our Andalusia videos. The one about Sevilla has already gone live, and I will also share my tips and tricks for backpacking Andalusia in the last video of the series. So I hope to see you in the next video. Bye! If you haven't seen the other videos in the Andalusia series, then definitely check out our amazing time we spent in Sevilla. In the next video, we are discovering the good, the bad, and the ugly in Granada. And in the video after that, we discover Malaga's tourist trap. We also avoid the crowds in beautiful Ronda. Subscribe if you'd like to know all our tips and tricks for backpacking Andalusia, and to follow me on my adventures backpacking solo through Southeast Asia.